Hey there, fellow homeschoolers. Are you interested in incorporating some sort of a holiday unit study with your older students, but either are finding that most of the things out there seem to really be geared towards the younger students, or just feeling a little tapped out on the budget this season? I think I might have you covered today. So first, let me welcome you to my channel. If you're joining for the first time, my name is Abby and I'm a homeschooling mom of two. I have two high school age students. And a problem that I've had in the last few years with regards to like mini units or unit studies is that so many of them really are geared towards younger students. And even if it says it covers, all ages or all the way up through high school, a lot of times there's just so many elements still in that program that my kids just don't find engaging. And so I'm paying for a lot of stuff that we just don't end up using. Like, they don't want cutesy stories. They don't want simple kiddie crafts. They want to learn more in depth about whatever the topic is. They want things that are just a little bit more challenging or a little more age appropriate. And this Christmas especially, I was just feeling kind of like a little tapped out as far as like wanting to buy more stuff. I mean, I purchased our Advent study that we do. We always do a Daily Grace Co. Advent program in our homeschool as a part of our daily Bible study. And, and that's got a cost to it. And then just on top of that, everything's more expensive. So I thought this year I would attempt to put together my own little mini unit study. Now, we study German in our family for part of our homeschool. And so we have always kind of talked about German Christmas traditions as a part of that. And I thought, well, what if we kind of broaden that? I mean, I've seen lots of programs out there that say that they're Christmas around the world, but I'm like, could I put together a mini unit that talked about just a couple of different countries, but geared it again more towards the older students, giving them a little something more. So today I want to tell you a little bit about the program that I put together, and then I am going to offer it out to you guys free. So first of all, let me tell you what this is not. This is not one of those real pretty watercolor, gorgeous drawing PDF downloads. It is a PDF, and it's going to be filled with lots of resources that I'm going to talk about, but it is designed for you to be able to kind of look at, follow different links, watch different videos, try different recipes, and a few crafts that again are geared more towards those older students. And then I did put in some information that I found from various resources. And then I'll show you a couple of books that kind of were the kickstart for this for me that are available on Amazon if you'd like to check them out. So when I started working on this, I did go on Amazon and I was looking for a couple of books that again looked like they were maybe geared towards somewhat older students or older readers. And I found two that I really liked. This one is called Christmas is Coming: Traditions from Around the World, North and South. It is a beautiful book, and it's not like a heavy read where it's going to take a really long time, but the information feels like it's a little more in-depth. Now, there are some great illustrations in it, of course, so you could probably use this with different age groups, but I just found that the information was just really interesting. And also the author, I believe, is Polish, so it's kind of written from that European perspective, and there's a lot of information about Polish traditions intermixed with ones from all over the world. But I thought that this was just a great starting point. In fact, I had a bunch of pages tabbed with all kinds of information. And then the other one I got was called The Atlas of Christmas: The Merriest, Tastiest, Quirkiest Holiday Traditions from Around the World. So a little smaller book, little more of like an actual read versus kind of like a picture style book, but a lot of really great information in there and just, fun facts from all over the world. So I did get both these books off Amazon. I will link them both down below for you. Neither one was very expensive, and they both were eligible for Prime, so you should be able to get them in the typical 2-day time frame. So next I needed to pick which countries we were going to study, and Germany was a natural choice because we are studying German, and that is part of our family heritage. Half of our family immigrated from there. And then because I was so interested in the facts about Polish Christmas traditions from that first book, I thought, well, let's do Poland for the second one. Plus, the other half of my family immigrated from Poland, so there you go. I did pick a third European country, Sweden, and then I picked one from Africa, Ethiopia, and then I picked Mexico as well. Now, there were just so many different countries to choose from. I mean, you could do a huge study of Christmas traditions around the world, but I thought, well, I will stick to just 5 and try to find really good resources for those. And who knows, if you guys end up liking this, if it works out well for our homeschool and for your homeschools, maybe I'll work on something next year that has 5 different countries, and I'll have a little more time to make it, pretty for you. So what exactly did I include in this unit study for my kids? Well, first of all, I did type up some of the facts that I found in different books and on a couple of different websites, just pulling those together so I could share those with them. And then I did put in links to various sites that provide more in-depth information. So if you want to follow any of those and read up more on a particular country or have your teens do some of that independently, they can. Second of all, I wanted to include videos. We do a lot of really cool educational videos as a part of some of our other curriculum programs, and I know that the kids enjoy that and that they get a lot out of it. Plus, that's pretty easy prep for me. Just click the link and go. So I do have a ton of video links for each of the different 5 countries, covering things like their traditions, common meals, language, where some of the customs came from. But I did try to focus a lot on modern Christmas traditions. So if I went to that country today, what could I expect to see and experience? And then if I found some interesting historical videos about things that they do currently, I included those as well. The next thing that I included were recipe links. Now, I didn't want to just pick every recipe under the sun. I was thinking that it would be cool to provide my kids the option to do like a main dish or a side dish from each country and then choose from a couple of desserts. And our game plan will be to basically work on this maybe 1 or 2 days a week and choose an evening a week where that's gonna be dinner. They're gonna choose, some recipes from that country that they can cook up, and then they can make one of the dessert items. And there are so many different ones. I'll briefly talk about them when I get into the country specifics. The next thing that I included was links to Christmas music. So if you like to have music playing in the background, maybe while they're cooking the meals or working on a handcraft, then you can have that playing. There are some beautiful, beautiful music selections. I was having so much fun listening to them. I was just getting lost in the music listening to that. Something else that I did try to include was some sort of a handcraft or project for each country. Now, I didn't want to do anything that was going to require me to go out and buy a bunch of extra materials, because the whole goal of this was to not spend an exorbitant amount of money to simply add this unit study. But I did want to make something that was traditional for each country and representative of it. And I thought, what better way than to try to find ways to create different ornaments from those countries. And so when I go through the countries, I'll explain kind of what I found there, but I love the idea that maybe we can decorate the tree that's down in our homeschool room with a couple of the ornaments from each country that we make. And bonus, I did try to choose things that you don't have to go out and buy a bunch of stuff from, because I wanted to make sure that this stayed affordable for our family and for anyone else who chooses to use it. And last but not least, I included a few book selections. So I didn't want to go out and buy a ton of different books. I really did like the 2 books that I picked. I think if you wanted to get something that you could find some different information on all of these countries, those are great options. Plus, you could save them and use them in future years if you choose to study different countries. But I did look for a couple of other book options if there is a particular country that you wanted to dig into a little bit more. And you can definitely look on Amazon, your local library, see if they're available on Kindle and things like that. I tried to make note of some of the places where I'd seen those available to try to help you find those resources. Now, while I don't want to read through everything that I included, I thought I would just highlight a couple of examples of things that I included for each country. Germany, for example, has a lot of traditions that have really spread throughout the world. Everything from the Christmas tree to glass ornaments to advent calendars. And so I found a lot of really great YouTube videos that kind of talked about where those traditions came from and how they spread, and then focused in on things like the German Christmas markets and great Christmas traditions currently going on in Germany, information about Nuremberg gingerbread, Krampus. There was a great video I found. It was so funny, but it talked about Krampus, if you've heard of that, which is a part of the German Christmas traditions. And then I've got, and bear with me if I look down, I'm reading from my notes here, but how to make your own homemade Advent wreath, German paper stars. So that's the design I found to be able to create an ornament. They're beautiful. I've done them before, but it's been years. So we're gonna try that. And then recipes like potato dumplings, Lebkuchen, Apfelkuchen, Stollen. In fact, if you'd like to make Stollen, I did it last Christmas and I filmed it. So there's a video on my channel under the Christmas playlist that takes you through making Stollen, and it's really good. It's really good. And then for Mexico, I have making Rosca de Reyes, which is, it's a round cake that is got like a little baby or a doll figure hidden somewhere in it. And it's got a lot of religious symbolism to it. And then arroz verde, green Christmas rice, tamales recipe, maranitos, molasses gingerbread cookies. And then there is a Mexican paper star, and it's good as you'll see if you watch the videos on Mexico, it's different from the stars we see made in like Sweden and Germany and things like that. There's a very special significance to the 7-point star that they use around Christmas time in Mexico. Has to do with like the 7 deadly sins, and there's a lot of great symbolism to the piñata during that time. So you'll see videos about the piñata and what that means, and about the Mexican star and their what's it called? Los Pasados. I think I'm probably saying that wrong, but this tradition that they do that involves like going door to door, and it's a reenactment of Mary and Joseph looking for a place to stay. They have some beautiful traditions, and so there's a link to make like piñata ornaments and to make the paper star ornaments. And then Ethiopia, they're Eastern or Ethiopian Orthodox Christians. So their traditions are so different, and they run on an entirely different calendar, which I didn't know. So it talks in the videos about the different calendar system that they use and why it's significant. And so, how they celebrate this pilgrimage that they do to these rock-hewn churches. I mean, it's just really interesting. I learned so much. And I picked that country completely at random. So I've been really excited learning about it. And then I have recipes for kahawa, which is an Ethiopian coffee recipe, because I had to include coffee. Ethiopian bread, a lentil recipe, and then how to make a sistrum, which is like a simple instrument that they use during their church services. Going into Sweden, I found this channel called the Northern Heart, and it's a lady in Sweden, and she has this beautiful playlist about all kinds of Swedish traditions. And so I did link many of her videos. She goes through everything from making decorations to making candy to how to interact with a Swede during Christmas, what their Swedish Santa Claus is like. Christmas flowers, she's got all these amazing ones. And then of course I pulled other videos from elsewhere as well, but her channel was beautiful, and it was just so cool to get to watch and learn from someone, who's actually living there. And the Swedish Christmas music is some of the prettiest on the playlist. Got craft links for making a Swedish woven heart garland, a Swedish gnome, and upcycled Yule goat, because they're very big on doing recycled crafts or upcycling things to make Christmas decorations. So how to make the Yule goat, which you'll learn about. Recipe for saffron buns. I've made these in the past. They are delicious. They're so good. Saffron is a bit expensive to buy, but it's so worth it to make this recipe. Swedish meatballs, and if you're brave, there's a salmon and cabbage recipe, because fish dishes are a big part of what they eat. And then Swedish gingerbread. And then the last country was Poland, and Poland has some beautiful traditions. Christmas Eve is really their big day of celebration as opposed to Christmas Day. So there's videos talking about the big 12-course Christmas Eve dinner that they do, and the significance of like the different things they include in those dishes. There is a couple of videos that take you through like the Polish Christmas markets, which are just a huge deal there, similar to how they are in Germany. And then as far as craft options, there is a paper bird craft, there is a Polish star craft, and then there is a tree, like a paper tree cut craft. It makes these really intricately designed paper trees. And then recipe-wise, Christmas wafers are a big deal there. They are similar in composition to like a communion type wafer, but they make them, they're like rectangular, almost like an embossed cookie. It's a very simple recipe, but it is very symbolic for them. And I found a recipe for that, as well as things like dumplings with sauerkraut. They have this red borscht, which I believe is like a red beet soup, if I remember right. It's either red cabbage soup or it's red beet soup, but it looked interesting, and it has like ravioli and mushrooms in it. Chocolate lace cookies, anise cookies. There's just some really cool recipes, lots of things that you can choose from there. So again, this is not meant to be like a formal unit study. This is not open and go curriculum where you're going to read from a lesson and everything's printed out on the pages for you. It is meant to be a collection of different resources that you can use. Like I said, I did pull in a couple of notes that I typed up on the different countries, but it is really just meant to help you guys see all of the different options that are out there and kind of pick and choose what you want to use with your kids. So if you would like a copy of this, all you have to do is send me an email. My email address is all the way down at the bottom of the description box. Just let me know you'd like a copy of the Around the World study, and I'm happy to send that your way. And I like to share things like this that I've kind of put together or created for our homeschool and share them with you guys for free, because, you know, if it helps me, maybe it will help you. And if you have any feedback on it, let me know, because if my kids enjoy this season, which I'm really hoping that they do, I'd love to kind of type it up in more of a formal format and get a head start on trying to pick 5 more countries that we can study next year and put that together as well. If you guys enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up before you go. It really helps out my channel. Appreciate you guys being here as always. Happy homeschooling and Merry Christmas.